Greetings, true believers. Joel Pal, Spider-Man. Hey guys, KJ here. Continuing on with the test shave of the Rockwell. I've gone through plates 2 through 6 so far, and using them each one time. 6 was definitely too aggressive for me. 5 probably too aggressive for me. 2 was definitely too mild, so I'm going to go back and revisit plates 3 and 4, use them each one more time, and see which one of those two I like better before I call it good with this razor. Now it is kind of killing me staying on this because I just got the Timeless on loan yesterday, so it's going to be another couple of days before I actually use the Timeless, and it's sitting there taunting me, but I want to give the Rockwell its fair shot before I pack it up and send it back off. So for today's shave, I'm going to use another soap from Chad's Piff Box. We're dwindling down. I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Looks like maybe 5 soaps left after today to get through everything that he sent me. This is Tiki Bar Soaps, The Captain. I know people rave about this. I always assumed that it was a bay rum scent, being called The Captain, but it's not. It says it's a blend of cherry pipe smoke, cherries, ozone, and molten lava. I don't know where you get molten lava from or how you bottle up that scent, but apparently it's in here. Also don't know really what ozone is. I never smelled it by itself to know what that brings to the party. I definitely get a little bit of cherry, but not too much. Like I'm not a fan of cherry scents necessarily. So when I read those ingredients, I was a little apprehensive, but it's not overtly cherry, and I think maybe the pipe smoke in there is kind of balancing it out. It's got kind of a creamy kind of scent to it. So off the puck, this kind of smells like a winner. So let's see what happens when I get it lathered up. Again, we're using my my new palette and beehive. So far of everything that Chad has sent me, there's really only one soap that I'm going to keep, and that's the CBL soap, the, what is it? Yeah, the Russian tea. There was a couple of samples in there that is something that I'm going to purchase, so those will be carried on. But as far as the full pucks that he sent me, so far, excuse me, nothing has really grabbed me. So kind of hoping that this one does. I mean, it's not going to be one of my favorite scents. But I think I'm going to like it enough to go ahead and keep this one. But everything else is going to be repiffed. I think I got an idea or two on how I'm going to get rid of them. All right. It's not really changed at all from the puck. If anything, just gotten a little bit stronger. So I've never used Tiki soaps before. I know when I opened up the box, I said that I had used one Tiki soap, or I said I'd had one Tiki soap, which is true. I bought a puck of Tiki soap in a Piff Box a long time ago. It was pumpkin spice, I think, and I'm not a fan of pumpkin spice, so I never actually used it. and I repiffed it without even trying out the lather on that one. So really this is my first time ever using Tiki soaps. Looks like that's probably about as good as it's gonna get. Alright, so again, this is a Rockwell with a plate 3, so this should be a much easier, smoother shave than I've had the last few days. You'd be able to be pretty much autopilot. So the soap seemed cushy enough, slick enough. Definitely got some residual slickness going on. So judging from how it felt after the first shave, or the first pass rather, I think plate 4 might be a little bit better, a little bit more efficient, but we'll see how it feels after this second pass. And then wait till tomorrow to actually compare the two and see if I have a preference of one or the other. I believe it was plate 4 that gave me the cut when I first used it, but I think I just wasn't paying attention. I was trying to go too fast because I didn't have any cuts from 5 or 6. So I don't think getting a cut on 4 is indicative of it being too aggressive for me. So again, this is pretty standard feeling for after pass 2 for me. Quite a bit of stubbly feeling when I go up. That's kind of what I use to judge to see if it's getting any closer than my average shave from either my Merkur or my Gillette Fat Boy or other razors. That's kind of what I use to judge. Now the soap, when I was feeling my face, it was starting to dry out, so I'll get a little bit moisture back on here. so I can do a little bit of touch-up. I'm not going to do full touch-up. And residual slickness isn't that great. The razor is dragging a little bit, so I don't know that I would necessarily put this in a tier 1 category for that reason, for the soap. But there's nothing wrong with being tier 2 either. And that's just my opinion. Other people might think it's a tier 1, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't heard much about Tiki soaps in quite a while. I just looked up their website and looks like they're moving, so their site is shut down for the next month or so until they reopen. So they're still in business. I did not know that. I almost thought that they had closed down. And not because I heard that they were moving, or this was like even before that. I just hadn't heard much about them, so I kind of figured they weren't in production anymore. It was kind of one of those Gen 4 soaps. I don't know, a lot of those Gen 3, Gen 4 soap makers they all came on around the same time, and a lot of them didn't make it. So that's pretty good shave. So looking forward to using the 4 again tomorrow and comparing it to today's shave and seeing if I like it better. I think I will. I think after having gone through everything, I think 4 is the plate that I would probably prefer. I know Dave said that he pretty much settled on the 4, but he's been using the 5 as his daily driver lately. So maybe just as you get accustomed to the razor, moving up to the 5 isn't as big of a deal as it was for me, just going boom, 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 boom. So one thing that Dave sent me with the timeless, so I just received this yesterday. No Down is not a bottle of scope. I know not to drink this, but it was funny when you posted that about needing to relabel this or take the label off or something so that you didn't accidentally drink it. The story that I posted on your new thread immediately popped into my head as soon as you talked about that. So when I saw you post that thread, or you said that you had an idea for a thread, I knew right away that story was going to come out. But what this is Humphrey's Alcoholato Maravilla. Basically, it's their flavored witch hazel. So it's 70% alcohol, and then it's got bay rum in it. It's got some coloring in it. It's got a couple of chemicals. It's got fragrance, which it just smells like bay rum to me. So I'm not sure what other fragrance they're putting in there. It's got menthol, and it's got witch hazel. So I'm guessing that the witch hazel is kind of lower in the ingredient list. There's probably not a whole lot in there, so I don't know that you'd necessarily feel anything from the witch hazel directly. Normal witch hazel is 86% witch hazel and 14% alcohol. This is 70% alcohol, and then witch hazel's way down on the list, so there's probably not a whole lot of witch hazel in here. And it also has menthol in it. I don't remember if I said that. So I've been looking forward to trying this out. So definitely got a lot of alcohol. I'm not stinging from it. I just felt the evaporation come off. So I'm not sure. There's 2 chemicals in there that I didn't recognize. You know, some of those can't pronounce some things, but I'm guessing that one of them was some sort of glycerin type thing to help moisturize your face, because it's feeling a little sticky. So there's something in there that is adding something to not dry out my face, which is probably good, being 70% alcohol, because otherwise, as soon as the alcohol burned off, you'd be left with a really dry face if they didn't put something else in there. So I'm just fanning, just trying to let the alcohol evaporate off, which I'm sure it has, but also some of the menthol. The menthol is actually pretty strong in here, which is nice. But I like this. I mean, I think you could get by with only using this as your aftershave, although I'm not really digging the face feel. That, like I said, it's really sticky. So I think I am gonna follow up with something really quick, just to put on top of that and see if it changes that feel a little bit. But it is similar to a product that I make. So I take regular witch hazel, and I mean, I don't mind the smell of witch hazel. It just kind of has a generic, earthy kind of scent to it, almost like a very, very, very weak vetiver. Some people say it smells like dirt. Some people say it smells like raw bacon, which I can kind of get. I mean, it's very, very light. So whatever it is, it's not that bad. But I had been mixing it with rose water, and then also adding a little bit of my bay rum to it, which this is Superior 70 bay rum. So I just decanted it into this glass bottle because I had it on hand. It's a vintage Rexall bay rum bottle. So this is full of Superior 70. So I add a little bit of rose water and a little bit of Superior 70 to my witch hazel to give my witch hazel a slight bay rum scent. The rose water really doesn't impart any scent to it, at least the rose water that I'm using. It's not heavily scented. It's an Indian product. But using this Humphreys has given me the idea of possibly adding a tiny bit of menthol into my witch hazel mix, because that wasn't bad. So thanks, Dave, for the sample of this. I really dig it. It's actually really strong on the menthol. Like the Superior 70, I don't believe has menthol in it. But just applying the Superior 70 has reactivated the menthol that's on my face. So it's definitely got quite a bit of menthol in there, which makes me think I just might want to dilute this down with some regular witch hazel and kind of make the scent and the menthol last a little bit longer. Because if I'm using this as a pre to an aftershave, this is actually a little bit strong. Just strong in feel, strong in scent. The bay rum is pretty upfront. It was the second ingredient after the alcohol, so it's got the most bay rum of any of the other sub-ingredients. And so diluted down, I think this would be a great pre-aftershave. But in place of like my regular witch hazel, which I usually do just witch hazel and then an aftershave. So if you're gonna follow it up with another aftershave that might be scented, I think diluted down might be the way to go. And since I tried to find it online and I couldn't, so it's really hard to find and kind of expensive when you do find it. So maybe diluting it down is the way to go. I don't know. Have you thought about that, Dave? Diluting it down, making it last a little bit longer. You know, if you're, like I said, if you're using it as a sole product, I think it's fine, full strength. But if you're using it as a pre, just for me, I think it should be diluted down. But anyways, That's it for the plate 3. Tomorrow I'll be using plate 4, and then I think that will be it for my Rockwell test, and then I will get it sent off. Then I get to use the timeless, which really looking forward to that. It's just a really good looking razor. Nice heft to it. So we'll get more to that later. But if you haven't checked us out yet, join us on theshavingcadre.com and look me up. I'm Spider, and we'll see you guys on the forums. Bye.